Today we're going to be talking about 1099 update last minute changes to be able to make the process go smoother at the IRS upload for your 1099s this year. To begin, we have to make a change to our settings in ProFund Accounting. So if you go up into click the settings box, you get the organization, and then there's a new line in the organization to put in your state ID for the state that you're doing business in. And the way the IRS wants it is the first two characters of the state ID need to be your state initials. So for us in Michigan, that is MI. They should be. It should be. I believe it's all uppercased because just the way it is. And then after it, there's no spaces. It's just MI, and then whatever your state ID is. Michigan, most of the companies have the same state ID as the EIN. So mine is 38123456 So that's what they're going to want here for your state ID. So you need to make that, and then you can say done. The next thing you need to make sure is that in your vendors, all the vendors that have a 1099 this year, whether it's an MISC or an NEC, need to be updated in order to correctly work with the federal government. So what we did in here under the vendors is we go to accounting, we go to taxes, and we put in the social security number for the employee or for the company that you're doing business with, or the individual for an NEC. And whether that's an SSN, an EIN, or a TIN, this has been here all along. What's new is you have to tell me whether this is a business name. So in this case, this is a person who started a bakery, Joe, and he made, his business name is Joe's Bakery, and that's who the checks are made to. So that's what you want for your vendor name. But on his 1099, he doesn't send it as Joe's Bakery. It's really his name, Joe Dirt, and this is his social security number. So in order for that to work correctly in the new 1099 age, you need to say that this is a business name, because Joe, this name here is a business name, but the name we're going to be printing for the 1099s for that is not a business name, so we don't have it checked. So again, if the name that's here is not a business, do not check it. If it is a business, check it. If this name here is a business name, check it. If it's not a business, don't check it. Right now, everything is set by default to not having any business names checked. So if you are doing a 1099 to a business, make sure you put a checkbox there. Everything is listed on the 10. If you look at their W-9, if you got a copy of those, all that information should be available there, whether it's a business name or an individual name. It's not too hard to, and usually it's not hard to figure out, But you get the idea that these things need to be said for every vendor that you're going to do a 1099 for before you calculate your 1099s and send them to the IRS. Now, the next thing to note is what we've been finding in our batch uploads at the IRS so far is if you have one person who's messed up, like we've had a place where a company switched names in the middle of the year, but never sent out, the new W-9, or if they didn't get entered. So they had an old EIN for the new company name. What happens at the 1099 time is that is flagged as an error in the 1099 process. But unfortunately, that process is after after the IRS has taken it in. So we can't just fix our, ProFund and submit a new file. You actually have to go through and correct it at the IRS, on the IRS site. Now, it's not too hard to do. I mean, it's not, super complicated. The booger is once, if you have a batch of 10 of them, if one in that 10 is bad, then you have to resubmit and go and run through their little steps of editing, bringing in the record and editing it. You have to resubmit every record, every 1099 record. So you got to go through all, you got to also resubmit the 9 that are good and go through that and say that they're good now. And, it'll take it and it'll validate and make it good. And then, of course, you have to fix by hand up on the IRS site any kind of mistake that's out there for the SSN and the name, or for the tax ID and the name that's associated. There is a place on the BSO that you can set up and ask for permissions to be able to validate that. So we'll be covering that in February's webinar. But for right now, let's just make sure you get these check boxes in place for the vendors that are going to have 1099s this year at least. If they don't, then the other thing. And then finally, make sure you change your business name. And then when you do run 1099s this year, when you do go into the form, we now have a place for you to put what the minimum amount is. It is 600. It defaults to 600, but if you have to have a different amount, you can specify a different dollar amount, and we will use that different amount when we're generating it. Okay, well, that's all for 1099s this year. Please be aware of these changes.
You are now working smarter with ProFund Accounting. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more content like this.